Imagine investing thousands of dollars in a rare collectible, only to watch the company that created it absolutely decimate its value in a single move. Today, we're looking into the worst moves made by Wizards of the Coast, Konami, and the Pokémon Company, the three corporations responsible for some of the most iconic collectible cards in the world. For decades, Magic the Gathering has had one of the most controversial policies in all of trading card collecting, the reserve list. Created in 1996 as a response to players' concerns about reprints tanking the value of their collections, the reserve list was Wizards of the Coast's ironclad promise that certain powerful cards like the iconic Black Lotus, Mock Sapphire, and Time Walk would never be reprinted. The list ensured that some of the game's most legendary and valuable cards would retain their scarcity, giving collectors confidence that high-end Magic could hold value long-term. While the reserve list has always had its critics, its existence provided a guarantee, one that collectors and players have trusted for over 25 years. Then in 2022, Wizards of the Coast took that trust and flushed it right down the toilet. Now enter stage left, Magic 30th Edition. Billed as a celebration of the game's history, Magic 30th was a functional reprint of Limited Edition Beta, which includes some of the most iconic cards in Magic the Gathering, including, of course, Black Lotus and the Power 9. But there was a catch. The product was being sold at the insane price of $1,000 per 4 packs, with each pack containing just 15 cards and no foil treatments. While Wizards technically kept the reserve list intact by making these cards not legal for play, the move was one of the most blatant cash grabs in all of modern gaming. Not only did this reprint screw over collectors that trusted Wizards not to reprint the most collectible cards, it also screwed over literally anyone else that wanted to purchase a $1,000 Pure Lace that can't even be played in a tournament. Not that you would want to. Needless to say, the backlash to this product launch was immediate and severe. The Magic community saw this as a betrayal of the reserve list spirit, proving that Wizards was willing to find loopholes whenever it suited them. Many feared this was just the first step towards further devaluing reserve list cards, leading to a drop in confidence in vintage Magic as a high-end collectible. Stores refused to stock the product, influencers criticized it, and fans rejected it outright. It was a complete disaster. But the damage wasn't limited to Magic's hardcore community. Wizards attempted to salvage the situation by sending Magic 30th packs to content creators, including some outside of the dedicated Magic scene. One of those creators was Ruxin34, a YouTuber known primarily for Yu-Gi-Oh! Vintage pack openings. These creators, likely unaware of the full extent of the controversy, simply did what they were asked: open the product on camera and give their thoughts.
Today we are opening Magic the Gathering's 30th Anniversary Edition.
What followed was a wave of hatred and vitriol from the community, directed not just at Wizards, but at the creators themselves. Ruxin34 in particular faced an onslaught of backlash for his sponsored Magic 30th video, despite having no prior involvement in the Magic scene. Wizards had thrown these creators to the wolves, using them as shields to promote an already doomed product. Magic 30th didn't just hurt Wizards' reputation, it eroded trust in the entire ecosystem of Magic collecting. The reserve list, once seen as an unshakable pillar of confidence, suddenly looked vulnerable. Content creators, unknowingly caught in the crossfire, suffered in many cases undeserved backlash.
I had like an inkling, slight inkling of the disappointment in the product that we opened. I didn't realize how bad it was.
And in the end, Magic 30th failed spectacularly. Packs remained unsold, and the secondary market's confidence in Wizards took a massive hit. Now for a Magic the Gathering honorable mention. For a brief moment, Magic had something truly special: Masterpiece cards. First introduced in Kaladesh and continuing across the next few sets, Masterpieces were ultra-rare, premium reprints of iconic Magic cards, featuring breathtaking designs and unique frames. These weren't just fancy foils, they were true chase cards, appearing at a pull rate of roughly 1 per case. Each set's Masterpiece had a distinct look, making them highly exclusive and very special for anyone lucky enough to pull them. Collectors loved them, players sought them out, and for a while it seemed like Wizards was really onto something. But, as always, they couldn't leave well enough alone. Years later, after an abrupt discontinuation of the series, Wizards revived the Masterpiece card frames in their latest set, March of the Machines. But this time, for no reason at all. Instead of being part of an exclusive high-end chase series, these once premium designs were suddenly appearing as normal rares and mythics. The scarcity was gone, and much of the desirability went with it. What was once something actually special had been repurposed as just another gimmick. Masterpieces were once a highlight of Magic collecting, but after March of the Machine, they became just another casualty of Wizards' endless pursuit of more products, more variations, and more quick cash. Now on to everybody's favorite cardboard overlord, Konami. For years, high-rarity Yu-Gi-Oh cards have been a major draw for collectors. While older chases like Ghost Rares were difficult to pull and had a certain prestige, Konami took things to the next level with the introduction of Starlight Rares and Collector Rares. These super limited cards had stunning full foil textures that made them stand out from anything that had come before it. Starlight Rares in particular became the new gold standard for high-end Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards featuring elegant, refractive foiling that shimmered in the light. For a while, it looked like Konami had nailed the formula. These cards became highly desirable, expensive, and an actual chase for collectors. Then quarter-century secret rares arrived and changed everything. Introduced as part of Yu-Gi-Oh's 25th anniversary celebration, QCRs looked nearly identical to Starlight Rares, featuring a similar full foil effect, but there was one massive difference. They were significantly easier to pull. Instead of being a once-per-case rarity, QCRs flooded the market, appearing more frequently in packs and across multiple product lines. I'm looking at you, collector tins. While casual fans appreciated an easier way to get beautiful cards, collectors immediately saw the problem. By introducing a rarity that was visually similar but much more common, Konami had completely undermined the value of Starlight Rares. The impact was devastating. Starlight Rares, which had once commanded hundreds or even thousands of dollars, suddenly tanked in value. Collectors who had spent years acquiring high-end Starlights saw their collections crash overnight, especially for cards that received both a Starlight and a QCR printing. The market became oversaturated with shiny, high-rarity cards, killing the exclusivity that had once made Starlight Rares special. Cards that had once been seen as long-term holds for collectors were now just another flashy gimmick in an ever-growing and impossible to keep track of list of Konami rarities. The result? Collectors lost a lot of faith in Konami. After all, if a premium rarity could be devalued so easily, what's stopping them from doing it again? The quarter-century secret rare debacle wasn't just a mistake. It was a blatant signal that Konami valued short-term profits over long-term stability of its collector base. Seems like there's a similar theme here. And yes, of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has an honorable mention as well. For years, Retro Pack 1 was one of the rarest and most sought-after sets in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Collecting. Originally released as a European exclusive, Retro Pack 1 was meant to be a celebration of classic Yu-Gi-Oh!, reprinting some of the most nostalgic cards from the game's early days. However, what made the set so desirable wasn't just the iconic cards inside, it was its insanely limited print run. Sealed packs and boxes are nearly impossible to find, which made Retro Pack 1 a grail of Yu-Gi-Oh! Collecting, with unopened packs commanding hundreds of dollars and the set's hollow pulls fetching thousands. Then, 2 decades later, Konami decided to reprint it, and in doing so, completely destroyed its exclusivity and value. What was once a legendary, near mythical set was suddenly just another reprint, widely available to the masses. Cards that collectors had spent years tracking down were now easily accessible, with the only discernible difference in versions coming down to a copyright stamp at the bottom of the card. What made this even worse was that Konami never gave collectors a reason. No special anniversary, no unique twist, just a blatant cash grab at the expense of the set's historical significance. And it's not like any of these cards were needed as functional reprints. In fact, the set is largely unplayable in most Yu-Gi-Oh! Formats, and therefore really just a set for collectors. Or at least it was. The reprint of Retro Pack 1 proved what many collectors had feared. Nothing is truly sacred in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now onto Pokémon, which somehow has the opposite problem. If there's one thing the Pokémon company has truly mastered, it's exploiting fear of missing out, or FOMO. And nowhere is this more obvious than in how they handle product releases. Instead of making sure fans and collectors can reasonably get their hands on cards they love, Pokémon thrives on artificial scarcity, dropping hyper-limited releases, underprinting high-demand sets, and forcing collectors into frustrating buying experiences. Take the Pokémon Center stamped products, for example. Whenever a special Elite Trainer box, promo card, or limited edition plush goes up for sale, it's usually gone within minutes, snatched up by scalpers and bots before real collectors even have a chance. Pokémon knows this happens. They've seen it with almost every major exclusive release, but they've done little to prevent it, allowing the FOMO cycle to continue. And then there are limited in-person releases, like the disaster surrounding Felt Hat Pikachu. When this exclusive promo was released in Europe, it was so limited and so sought after that people literally fought one another trying to get one. It's the same story every time Pokemon artificially limits supply. Chaos, scalping, and frustration. They create rarity where there doesn't need to be any, making collecting Pokemon cards less about passion and more about luck, timing, and how much you're willing to pay a scalper. Even regular set releases aren't safe from Pokemon's FOMO tactics. Sets like 151 and Prismatic Evolutions were guaranteed hits. Yet the Pokemon Company failed to meet demand, and to make matters worse, they completely abandoned traditional booster boxes for these sets. Instead, collectors are forced to buy scattered products like ETBs, tins, and booster bundles, making it harder and more expensive to chase the cards you want. This is intentional. By controlling how packs are distributed, Pokemon makes sure people buy more products just to have a chance at completing their sets. The bottom line, Pokemon thrives on artificial scarcity and FOMO. Whether it's hyper-limited promos, in-person exclusives, or underprinted premium sets, they've turned collecting into a stressful, frustrating experience, one where the fear of missing out is just as strong as the love of the hobby itself. For anyone invested in these hobbies, it's a reminder that while cards may be collectible, the companies behind them will always be looking for the next way to monetize nostalgia and demand. And if you want to know whether any of these games are even worth collecting in the first place, watch this video next.